good morning, evening, afternoon, night, whatever it may be. How's everyone doing? All right, what is it? What is it that we want to do? Let's see. We have not this. I have one whip to work on some better docks. I'm in the progress of making some GitHub actions. Eventually, we will want to move this over to our own service, but for time being, we'll use GitHub Actions, which is fine. But we could also do something else. I know that some people had wanted to. Some people had wanted to see me do Tailwind. If they join, I will try Tailwind. If they don't join, I'm not going to. Especially because I suck at it. But when I do that, I also want to test out SvelteKit. I've heard good things about it. So might as well try it while I'm trying something else new. Um, yeah, got something in my eye. Let's see. Can I go straight from here, or do I have to go here to then go to projects? I feel like I have to. Okay. Oh well. We haven't actually written anything more here. Let me jump over to here. 1 second. Uh, I'm not sure if I would leak anything going here. Yeah, probably not. So there's some machine learning stuff we could do. Um, there is some machine learning stuff we could do. This is kind of boring. I'm actually thinking about taking one of these Saturdays off to just get some of this stuff done. I've got to do it. Like cutting the live stream audio up into 10-second chunks. I don't know that anybody wants to. I mean, I guess I could write Python to do it, which is probably what I'll do. Um, but the other thing is, then you have to listen to all those chunks to actually tag them. So I don't know. Not sure. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet. Not sure if I'll do it on stream or I think really what it will be is like cutting up the interesting chunks so that I know that this 10 second is a key thing and that way I can train off of it. But yeah, anyways, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. We can do some stuff with the null cloud. I've been doing some stuff, but I haven't actually released that. I need to work on the UI. The UI is garbage. Actually, is it even running? Another thing that I wanted to do was to set up some monitoring for it so we can, have an alert if it's not running. I was thinking about doing that in Linode. So basically, if my cloud goes down, Linode isn't. So my monitoring doesn't go down. All right. I guess I'm just going to go ahead with this. I'm going to just really quickly jump on the Discord. Make sure it's okay that I push some of this just straight to main because, yeah, it's a GitHub action. This is one of the problems we're trying to solve. All right, so I made these two. I think this one will work. I think Clippy is installed there. Now, I'm not having errors as warning. Really, what Russell and I had talked about that would be nice is to basically count up the number of warnings per error or per project. So, if you go in here and go, there were 5 warnings for. Oh, wait. Oh, this is actually doesn't. I haven't actually pulled one second. Let me get that. I was like, what? All right. This should build now. Hopefully. Yeah, okay. So it built, but like there are some warnings. But the warnings are letting us move kind of quickly. So if you see here in the server, there are what? One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10. So, anyways, it is allowing us to do, a little bit of bad without getting too many. And we wanted to put a cap on it to say, okay, well, up to 25 warnings per project is fine per workspace. We have a couple workspaces. We have the server, the docs. Well, this isn't actually a workspace, but the CRI, the config, the agent, whatnot. And we were thinking that 25 would be fine because it allows us to move fast without like being too dogmatic on oh, there was a warning, but also let us but I don't know actually how to do that. I can tell cargo to make warnings errors, but I almost feel like I'm gonna have to do my own action of some sort that counts the number of warnings. Yeah, I don't know if that even exists. GitHub action. Rust cargo count warning. See, yeah, there's like a deny warnings. Maybe there is a thing inside of Clippy. I don't know. So the other thing would be like this here. Cargo Clippy. So I can set specific things allowed or forbidden. Like I can say warnings are forbidden. See, the lib generated 3 warnings. Config, it generated 5 warnings. This is like what I want. I want to make sure that these don't go over 25. That's what we considered was reasonable. But I don't know how to do that in action. So my first step was I get an action. We'll have 2 actions, 1 lints, 1 tests. This builds our unit tests that we have exactly. Well, I have one for the config at this point. And so then we can do this on the pull requests. I thought that would be really nice, just so that we get a little bit of metrics on our pull requests instead of them being a little bit of an enigma. So I'm just trying to get Russell to tell me if he's okay with me pushing these to main. Otherwise, I'll just make a pull request. I made them. They're really, really stupid simple. Let's just go push them to a pull request. And then we can move on to something else. Yeah, but because I don't know at this point to run the Clippy. Let's see if somebody else has GitHub action Rust cargo linting. The other thing I was thinking is actually we could add this as cargo FMT. Cargo FMT shouldn't change anything. There shouldn't be any changes. Can we run FMT in some way that's like checking for them? Let's see. Yeah, just check mode. That's what we want to do. We want to just do check all. So that's the correct answer. Now let's verify that this is actually working. Let's go change something just to make sure it complains. Not gonna change that. Let's just jump into here. Sure. This is going to be like that. There we go. That should fail. Beautiful. Okay. So let's add this to the action, and then we'll push it into a pull request. And it should be fine. So we just want to run all of this. We're going to run this with, we're not going to make a different one. We're going to put this with the linting one. So we'll run this before Clippy. And we don't need build at all. This one's dum-dum. So we're just going to lint and Clippy. Let me see if there's any. I don't think that there's anything else we want to run on Clippy. I know like there's a decent number of settings for Clippy, but like I don't know that that's what we really need. Because it's going to look at all the projects anyways. And most of the settings for Clippy are like whether to disallow certain things that are warnings should be errors, and stuff like that. So I think Clippy will just leave like this for right now until we want to start to actually specialize it, where we're like, no, this type of warning, like one that I classically do, but I'm not going to do this because I think, I think that Russell would probably flip out. Is I really like returns, so like instead of doing this, I really like saying like return. Okay. Uh, this is much cleaner to me, because then your early returns match the end of the line, and it doesn't like break. They just find this to be more idiomatic. That's what the community says. So, anyways, so I'll leave it that way because this is idiomatic. All right. How's everyone doing today, though? All right. Oh, I said get commit. I guess I could have just deleted one of the gets, but I typed it out. Thank you. All right. Then we can just open a PR and forget about it. Now, while we're at it, we could do a little GitHub hackery do here. Let's go on this. I believe there is code scanning. Since it's an open source project, I think we get CodeQL for free. I'm not sure if Rust works with CodeQL. GitHub, get your act together. Ruby Python. Oh man. GitHub. Never mind. All right. Well, that's yep, let's enable that. There we go. Q. So now we should have 2 PRs open. This one's still in WIP. I'm not going to do this one on stream. I'm just wanting to update our documents. Kind of boring. This is another reason why I might just take some time one of these Saturdays off to work on some of this stuff. Let me actually assign Russell to this. And Sid. All right. All right. Cool. Let's actually open up our community docs. We have this meeting notes. And I've done most of the work that I set out to do. All right, so a couple things is that I need to create this. I'm not sure if you guys want me to work on this on stream or not. I need to work on this though. Basically, I want to make a YouTube video with a bunch of things going over the what's, whys, wheres, and how's assembly line is working. This I need to do, and this I need to do, and maybe the work on the decision engine. Okay. I don't know that Sid knows that I gave him this, but I reserve the right that if he didn't join the office hours, I got to assign him to stuff. So he's a. It's a great community. You should join. You should join. All right. Let's see. That's in that case, all I have really to do is work on the server. So let's jump over to I don't really have to push that up to the main one to my fork. I don't know. I do it sometimes. Just so that the main on my fork isn't really behind. But you don't really need to, honestly. I do it because like for me it's a little bit OCD if it's not, but there's absolutely no reason why main has to ever be touched. I always go back to main because it's clean for me. So if you actually made a branch from this branch, it would actually be built off of that branch. And you get into this chaining effect when you check your commits in. So, yeah, anyways. It's just an easy way to make sure that your branch is clean and based off of just the main work. Yeah, anyways. But it can be as far back as you like. It really doesn't matter. So we're going to make a new branch to actually run a server that exposes a REST. So it's a server. Now, this is how I've been doing the branching for this, and really it doesn't matter since we're doing the forking. One of the reasons I like forking with the pull request is really you can do you. But what I do is the component of the Git repo. And then, if I had an issue, it could be the issue. I don't have an issue because we're just making it. So create base server. All right. So in here we should have config. It should be working. Like we should have a read config, write config. That's not all that we need, but and our tests to prove that that's working. So this is super cool. Run this test. Test passed. Beautiful. All right. So now we'll jump onto server. The server has some stuff, some commented stuff. So basically, we wanted to have an SQLite database. So like if you ran locally, it could just run with an SQLite database, but we also wanted you to be able to connect with a Postgres database. So that's what this connection pool manager was doing, was basically managing whether you were on a Postgres or SQLite and making it pretty generic to access. It does mean that you don't get any of the powers of like, if you know that it's a Postgres database, you can do stuff a lot better and for Postgres. So I don't know if we want to do it this way or not. It's an easy implementation. I'm going to argue that we do it this way because it's an easy implementation, because it means that we'll have less code and it will kind of just work. Now, it will work less well, but I think it's easier than us maintaining two backends for now. Maybe in the future we'll have that as tech debt to actually break it into two backends. But what I was going to do is actually create a web server. So I usually like using Axis. I don't know if that's how you spell it. I always have to go look it up. Actix. Yeah, anyways. So there we go. There we go. Where's your documentation? Let's just pull this up and get the latest version. Oh. No. I just wanted the versions to put in. Maybe it hasn't getting started. Here we go. Ah, there it is. 4. So if you haven't used it, it's actually pretty convenient. You get to just do these things. This has its downfalls. Some people will talk about like Rust Rocket, which is another pretty cool, but like it's been in 0.5 release candidate for, I think it got abandoned. Is I guess. And it got updated like 9 months ago, but this 9 months ago is basically to say that it hasn't been maintained for like 2 years or something. Which is kind of a shame because it was basically one person that left, but they were really the owner of it. And so, yeah, now nothing has moved. Which it was kind of, it wasn't the fastest by any means, but it was one of the easiest to use. So, anyways, that's a shame. All right, we're going with this. And now we can just go and use it up here. Let's see, we're going to throw this up here. And now we can define things like this here. We're not going to do manual. We'll keep it super simple for right now. I actually don't want to. I didn't want to propose an API here because I know one of the things that we have to do for this is, one of the things we were saying is that we needed to read the YAML files in. So we'll do that next. And then work on the API. So, yeah. So now I'm wondering if we actually add this at all, because I was going to have the web server actually start up and build all of that out, which isn't a whole lot, but it was progress. Yeah, it's like this right here. I kind of want to. We'll see what Russell says on the pull request, because he probably is not going to like it, since it actually doesn't do exactly what we want. But I do like it. Okay, so it's probably going to complain until we run cargo cargo build because that's going to pull down the dependencies here. So we'll do that. Can't believe I'm streaming during Golden League. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm a horrible person. Oh wait, what did we do wrong here? I know I'm a horrible person. Oh, okay. So we didn't return a result here. So this is actually returning whatever this returns, and this is returning a new server. So obviously they must have done something different. Yeah, they're returning a result. You know what though? Golden League is streaming when I stream. Did you think about that? Maybe it's Golden League. I've been streaming on this Saturday for a long time. Golden League hasn't. So, maybe Golden League should have checked with me. That's my feeling. That's my feeling on it. Um Oh, wow, that hurt. Thank you. Thank you. You are a good friend. You're a fantastic friend. Look at that, everybody. The one real friend I have in life. That hurts. That hurts. I think you're about the only person that would watch my stream. You wouldn't actually watch my stream because you don't do Rust. He's a horrible Kotlin person. Oh, you're watching an ad? Sweet. I'm gonna get paid. Two of no what? What? Two of nine? Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's what you deserve for what you said. All right. That's what you get. Don't diss me. I will put you through 9 ads. That's right. I have no control over that. Just so you all know. Zero control. Also, Eagle 11, Twitch protected me from you, so it moderated your hateful message. That's amazing. All right, so what were we doing here? Let's build this. Okay, so I think that should build fine. All right, perfect. We'll think about whether we can do something here better than just this. I just wanted to get the server up and running. The other thing that we need to do is we need to read in our files, our pipeline files. Now, I was just going to read them in off of a location, but really, this is where it gets a little more tricky. Is we actually need another server config. So I know that we did the pipeline config, but now that I've been thinking about it here. We need another config that like tells us where to look, what to look for, and those types of things, because it's at like different repositories or different accounts. Like you could have GitHub. GitHub should be one of our integrations, so you could have a thing setting up your enterprise GitHub so that we scan the repos in that. So we need actually different configuration, not the pipeline. And that's what we need to be reading in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start another folder here called, well, do we read server config in config? I would say yes. Dude, I have no control over the ads. I'm sorry. Now, what I did do, um, So because I set them to only run once every 1.5 hours, that was the most I could put out. Maybe they run more, and so my bad if that's what's happening. I thought that would be nicer. They wanted me to run ads every half hour. They said that they would pay me more, but like literally, I don't really get paid by them. I actually get paid more than I do for YouTube ads, so I guess maybe that's actually not true. For the amount of views I have, I get paid way more for Twitch ads than I do for YouTube ads. But uh, I pushed them out as far as they would allow me to. If I could turn off ads, I would. So sorry about that. All right, I think I'm gonna put it here for right now, and Russell can complain at me later. I think I'm gonna put the server config in config because I know that this was shared config, but I feel like it should be fine for also just the server config as well. Because this has everything to read YAML in, and so I would have to put the, certy stuff into server. I think this is the clean way of doing it. I could be wrong. I haven't made a really big Rust project other than Legion, and I'm not going to say that Legion did everything like the idiomatic Rust way because I made it. So we'll learn together. I'm gonna put that server. Pretty lame. And then in here we're gonna do new file of mod.rs. Now, what is our I almost made it TOML. I don't think it's a shared config. I don't know who else. So to me, it would be like integrations. And you could have your GitHub. And then on GitHub it has like your key or whatever. Like your how to access, or if it's local where that Git repository is. Or you could just point it to individual repos, like it's configuring the server. I don't know if it's ever shared. Well, that's what I was asking, Russell, was should it go in the, but this is my argument for why it should, even if it's not shared. See this? I could put certy in here, but I almost feel like this config is containing all of the stuff to serialize and deserialize. And so why would I pollute this cargo with certy, which it already is polluted? Does it even? It doesn't even need certy at this point. 1 second, I can delete that and still build it. I'm positive of that. Yeah, okay. Wait, did I save it? I did save it. Okay. I don't take command line arguments either because I'm not a thing. So, anyways, it would keep our dependencies here much smaller than if we put this in. Okay. Then let's move it. I'll move it. I thought that's what you would say. But I don't know. This seems cleaner to me. We'll just copy and paste these over then. You don't have to be polite. It's fine. I put my big boy pants on every Saturday. Not many of the other days. All right. So we'll do it in here. In mod, we'll have our parsing functions. We'll make them pretty much just like these for the time being. Will we? Will they look like this? I think so. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm only going to do read for right now because that's all I have use for, and I'll add what I have use for later. I'll only add what I have use for. Keep it as simple as possible. All right. And now in here, instead of pipelines, though, we are going to have just server config. I'm just going to call it server for right now. What is a better name for the server config than server? I'm going with server. It wants me to do GitHub Copilot is fun sometimes. Okay. So I don't even know all of. Let me think of the. This allows me to actually make this though. Server. Can I get this to get the import? Import. Oh, well. I need to do more than import. Can it tell me what I need to use? 30 deserialize. Okay. Cool. Anything else? Use hash map. What? What? Why hash map? What about server? 1 second. 1 second. I have to go blow my nose really quickly. I'll be right back. I think my cat laid straight on my face. Okay, so we were using. Actually, I don't even think we need deserialize here. Never mind. This was a garbage import as well. I don't know. Copilots keep leading me astray because all we needed to do was make the pipelines public, or the server, the config public, and import them. Like that was all I was looking for. So here, let me do it for you. Pubmod server, and then use. Yeah, that it got the use after I did the pub. I guess that's what it needed. Now on here we need to use Certi deserialize and serialize, and then we need to do the good old derive, serialize, and deserialize, and debug. Perfect. All right. Now that we have this out of the way, let's let me think a little bit about the structure of what we need. I have a high level idea. So for right now, what I think I'm going to do then is I think out of the box we support two. We support GitHub and we support just a straight repo. Like you point us at a repo. how would that work though? Does Git natively have like a webhook? Uh, does Git support webhooks? Like, how would we? This is GitHub though. How would we support a repo? And what I mean by that is like, how do we know that there was a pull request or something like that that happened? Or do we just say that our first thing is an integration with GitHub? Because GitHub would be easier. So the problem with Git hooks is that it would require them to run something. And this is what people do with like pre-commit hooks and things like that. Um, but this would require them to update their server, which is what I didn't want to do. So I don't think the Git hooks is the right solution here. Do we just support GitLab and GitHub out of the box and don't support a single repository? I was just looking at that page. I think that might be the only answer for now. What's the only answer? Is that we either ask them to add a custom Git hook, we make a Git hook and ask them to add it, or are you saying the only real simple answer is to just support GitHub and GitLab out of the box? I'm kind of okay with either. So I guess, Russell, what I'm asking now, which one do we support first? I'm actually okay with supporting. We have three things, I guess, basically, is custom Git servers, GitLab, and GitHub. That's good with me. I mean, we'll structure the YAML, the config in some way where we can configure other ones, but I think each one's going to pretty much be their own configuration. I agree. I think GitHub is the most popular, and as long as we can support other ones, hopefully somebody in the community would like to come and be like, yeah, I'll make the GitLab integration because I use GitLab and this looks awesome. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, so we're going to do GitHub integration, which I think will follow this. I've never actually done that. All right, let's see. Introduction, key features of GitHub. I don't need any of that. GitHub webhooks. Actually, I've also never used webhooks in Rust, so that's going to work. And then the last one can be like a generic hook script thing. Yep, I agree. That sounds like a reasonable. I think the fewest people do it themselves, so I think that makes sense. Um, Add a webhook. So we have our payload, our content type, and our secret. Yeah, I agree. I, I wasn't saying that we don't support those other things. I think it's important to build it so it can. I just also think it's important to focus on one thing that's going to hit the most number of people first, that can start using it, and getting involved. All right, this looks like it's going to be fairly simple. We just need to basically. Are we going to? Okay, so I guess the next question is, do we expect them to create the webhook, or do we expect them to give us the key and we make it for them? Like do OAuth and give us the power to create webhooks. I think that's the right solution. Don't expect them to know how to configure it or whatnot. The server should ask, like, when you do it, it should do OAuth, get OAuth access, and then configure the webhook for you. Also, I know that you said go for it. In the future, for my let's see, my pull requests, I will, for the GitHub Actions. I didn't, you hadn't responded yet, so I made a one. These have two. These oh man, I didn't do new lines. 1 second, I need to go fix this before you merge this. I like to have the new lines, so I'll fix this and then I'll merge it myself. Anyways, I just did two. This one lints and clippies, and this one builds and runs the tests. The unit tests. I didn't put a limit. I know that we said 25. I don't have that yet because I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to say, hey, if there's 25 warnings, go ahead and throw an error. I honestly don't know how to do that off the top of my head, so I didn't. But we can work on that. I just wanted to get something in that could start running on our pull requests. Yeah. So, anyways, okay. So I guess we need to go look at the documentation for GitHub. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what configuration we need to read in. I guess if we're doing a GitHub integration, we need to look at becoming a GitHub app. How to write a GitHub app in Rust. Not maintained. That's like actually adding one to your thing. Create Rust app. This is what I want. The authentication. It's a public archive. Oh, just recently. Hopefully this crate is no longer maintaining the house. If you're interested in taking over the crate, feel free to contact me. Don't waste time on automating the. Okay, I won't for now. I thought it was nice. I would like to, so that it just says, hey, we can't merge this if there's 25, but it there was nothing that standard did. I think I'm gonna have to write my own action or something. I'm not sure. So this looks like it got decent support up to like 6 months. I guess really 2 years. Is there something else that does this? Let's see. Not what I needed. How much is this? Is like not a whole lot. Maybe we just take this over. All right. Now the next question is, with this, if we take this over, do we copy it and just use it? It's one file. Or do we actually support it as the crate? Like, do we ask this dude and just take the project in under the null channel? You know, I'll ask him. I'll ask him. I'll go ahead and send him something after stream. And yeah, I'll ask him, and if he'll give us ownership over it, we'll maintain it for the next little bit. Because I think it's I don't see anything else. Do you guys see anything else that's more maintained? Let's go to crates. And search here. Updated 7 years ago. Hubber. Git release package management. Not really what we're looking for. CLI tool to publish and test your own tags. Oh, wait. About 2 months ago. Let's look at this. There's Sheldon. Of course. What's Octocrab? Third-party GitHub API client allowing you to easily build your own GitHub integrations or bots in Rust. Octocrab comes with two primary sets of APIs for communicating with GitHub. A high-level, strongly typed semantic API and a lower-level API for extending behavior. Is it not statically typed? Is it not strongly typed? This lower level? I don't know. I don't think this does webhooks. Team search repos, releases, pulls. Oh, wait, maybe it's in orgs. Markdown issues. So this might work. Creates a new webhook for the specified organization. I look at it. You can probably create a webhook for either a repo or an organization. I'm not sure which ones we... No, there's none here, so... It's on the org handler. So this might work. Let's check it out. It didn't look like it's also being well maintained. So maybe we go with the simpler. Oh, wait. Here's another one. 6 days ago. It's like super pre-release, but get credential, GitHub app off. Wait, I'm not sure I understand what this is doing. Get credential helper using GitHub app authentication to provide GitHub tokens as credentials to Git. This isn't what we want. This is providing GitHub stuff to like the Git. Yeah, we'll cache credentials and only request a new token when the previous one expired. I mean, it does some of the same stuff, but it seems very specialized. I don't think it's that bad. And the only reason I say I don't think it's that bad is because the... Oh no, where is this one? Yeah. This doesn't look that bad. I mean, like, this is literally one page, and it's only 270 lines long with tests. Not a lot of tests, but with the tests. I mean, honestly, I don't know what tests you do, unit tests you do on a thing. So honestly, I think we just ask for maintaining ship over this instead of like looking for it. It doesn't look that bad. Well, let's go try to create a webhook. So, webhooks. Here we go. So this is at the organization. We can check if there is at the repo level. I don't think there is. Oh, there is. So basically, I guess there's two webhooks. One at the organization level that allows you to get all of your repos, and one at a repository level. I'd have to two-factor authent here. It's going to have to require a huge amount of trust anyways. It has to pull your code. If you have private code, you've got to trust it. I mean, the nice thing is you can run your own server and point it at your own place. You don't have to trust me. So it's not as much trust because you can be running your own, right? I would say that's less trust than trusting GitHub with it. I mean, GitHub obviously already has your data, but it's not leaving your network in theory. One second, I can two-factor authentication really quickly, if you like. Fun story. My 2FA there had started with 192, and I automatically put a dot behind it. I cannot type 192 without a dot. Anyways. No, you're right, Russell. You're right. So I think this is the problem here. Is if I have the ability to go to a repo and create a webhook, I can probably do it at the organization level as well, because they're pretty restricted. I think you're right, though, that people that don't want to host it and just want to come to, let's say we host it on the null cloud, they're not going to want to set up a webhook, and they're not going to want to deal with any of that. They're just going to want to open up their account, install it as a bot, click a button, or install it as an app, and it go off and start checking stuff for them, looking at their manifests. You're right. The ones that run locally will be able to read how to set this up, correctly. It's a shame that GitHub doesn't support a. I would say, and this is actually one of the things that I want to do with the null cloud, is everything is declarative, meaning that everything you can, if you can edit it like this, you can also just upload your own YAML or whatever file that configures it. 100%. And by that, I actually mean you should be able to just point it at a Git repo. I think that would be beautiful. To be like, yeah, we support just as a cloud, we support a Git repo. So if you just want to have your configuration in that Git repo, we'll watch it. Done. Wow. Your dev environment looks at a different branch than your production environment. How beautiful would that be? If instead of Terraform, all you had to do was point your configuration for AWS at a Git repo for each environment, how easy would that be? Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think this is the innovation cloud needs, because I've complained that cloud needs to do something a little different than what they've been doing. I don't think that that's it. But I think it's one of the innovations they should be doing. The other thing that I just realized is for testing this, I am going to need to have a publicly exposed. Actually, I do. I do. But what is it called? There's a thing that you can do that will proxy your requests publicly. What is that? What is that? Ngrok. That's what it is. Ngrok. I was looking for the word Ngrok. So if you're testing the server, you're going to have to use Ngrok, which is fine. They have a free server for it. So there's free. I think you only get one, but that's cool. Yeah, you don't get your own SSL or TLS, which is fine. Access with services with OAuth, request inspection reply, apply. I think this should work fine. I do have a public API address, but I'll probably use Ngrok anyways, just so like we're all using the same development. So let's go install that. I'm super just guessing that it exists. Okay, I guess maybe it doesn't. I'm gonna have to look into these. I've been noticing this. I'm only a little worried. Only a little. It's probably fine. It's probably fine. Just missing drivers, possibly. All right, there we go. For non-commercial use, we're using it for an open source project, so I think it's fine. If I can in the future, I'll pay for a license to support them. Oh, you have those warnings too? Perfect. Perfect. We're both gonna die at the same time. All right. Let's see. I think. Where was it? Where was it? Oh no, did I lose it again? Oh yeah, this is the one. Token mutable. I need to actually just read on this more. I think maybe that's what I'll do next Saturday. We'll do the GitHub application. So I'm not going. I'm gonna read on it, and then we'll just like actually work on it. I think we'll use this dude's library. I will ask to transfer it over to the null channel. It looks pretty simple. So if we need to maintain it to use it, yeah, I think we'll just do that, and we'll keep it a crate. If people are finding it useful. And I mean, if we're using it, might as well. And if nobody else is using it, we can just, update it to our needs. So I'll do that next week. Instead of sitting here live reading this, I'll try to figure out exactly how to do this. What were we doing? Okay, we were kind of setting up the server a little bit. So we have this struct here. Let's see. What do we need? What do we need to create we need the JWT, let's see. You don't need a bearer. You get a bearer. I guess you probably do need. Yeah, okay, you probably need to get a JWT. I don't know. I'll have to read. So I don't even know what I need to have in the configuration for the server. So I think I'm just going to leave it right here like this, which I know is kind of bad, but like it'll be fine because this does do the things. we're going to mod config, include that. All right. Oh. Server in the crate root. It's right here. It's right there. Okay. I think I screw this up almost every single time. I think I do. I don't have to do the super. I don't know why I always think I have to do the super, but I don't. And I do it almost every single time. Right. Yeah, this is where like I'm not quite sure. The JWT is something that you get and refresh. So like I was just trying to figure out how to do this based like what I need in the configuration to get this JWT because yeah, you should have like a refresh token that you use. But I don't want to be supplying the refresh. Oh, here maybe. Oh, here's a using Ruby. This is what you need. You need the private Pemon key. So maybe those are the only two things that you need. Oh, they build the JWT off of that. I thought you got the JWT from the server. I'm maybe really wrong here. I didn't think you built your own with the stuff. I'll have to read more on this. I just don't know enough. No, to authenticate. I mean, that's not what they're doing. You request a private key in PEM format and download it to your local machine. You use this key to sign the JWT and encode it using the RS. So you're generating your JWT, not the server. The server is giving you this private key to encode a JWT with. I mean, and maybe I'm reading this wrong. Because I generally agree with you, Russell, not arguing with you. Um, and maybe I'm very much used to like the user, like an end user, and not server to server. So this is probably 100% how you do server to server. I just haven't really done server to server, so this will be good learning for me. I was gonna look over at this really quickly. And that's what they're doing. He's doing here. So use the private key to generate a JWT and use the JWT to get an installation access token. So I guess this JWT gets us another. I don't know what this installation access token is, but I'm assuming this is also a JWT. So maybe this one has a timeout, and then when this one timeouts, you use this JWT to get a new one. Don't quote me on this. Again, I've not done a whole lot of server to server, so I could be very wrong. An installation access token is the primary method for authenticating with the GitHub API as an application. So the JWT you create and you sign is not the one that you use for access. It's the one that you use to get this access token, which again, I'm assuming is a JWT of sorts. I don't know. And this one has the refresh in it. And it has the refresh. So wait, what does it do for refresh? If needs refresh, raw. It gets it. So it uses this signing. Okay, this is actually fairly simple to understand in that it uses this signing where it signs a JWT to get the installation access token for refresh. This is what's called on refresh as well. So I mean, I think I understand pretty well what it's doing. It's not how you do it if you're an individual, though. If you're an individual, not an individual, but if you're a person, I assume that they're quite strict. I assume that it's secure. I mean, like, I'm not a security professional, as almost everyone knows. I try to learn. I try to do things that are secure, but not a security professional. And this is not the way a user normally authenticates as a person. But again, it's not a user. So, okay. Cool. But we'll do this tomorrow or next Saturday, I think. Because what I'll do is I'll have it all set up where we can actually test, like, trying to create a webhook and trying to do some things like that. And actually build out the API. I didn't get a ton of code done because I was figuring out. I guess really for here, what we need is GitHub. Should this be an actually no, this is actually pretty close. Sneaky little boogers. Actually for this, I actually am thinking that this should be a list. You could have multiple organizations. And then what we need to do is we need to do what we did up here, which I don't remember what those words were exactly. But it allows you to have an empty list. Serde default. There we go. We can have an empty list. And then in here, really, we're going to have a few things, like the webhook destination. So if you're configuring your own, it needs to know where to configure the webhook for. Webhook URI. We're going to need to know, it said token here, but that's not exactly what we were looking at. We're looking at, we need these two things here. Basically, we need a private PEM and a private key. So private key and we'll actually do this as GitHub private key, GitHub private pem, and we'll actually do this file. I want this to be a file. So this is just a location on disk. Yeah. Oh, actually, we are just going to be creating the private key from the PIM file. So actually, never mind. We don't need this. Or, well, so what I was thinking is like when you read the file in, you would create this, but and so it would live on this. But I think maybe that's bad. We'll just have a function that gets the private key. So I think it would be more like not necessarily new server. No, GitHub config. Oops. And or I wasn't new. I was thinking pub function not validate. Get private key. So and then basically we can do the encoding here. Wait, why does it not like this? Oh, because there we go. I'm not going to do this new, actually, because most of these should just be read from a file, I think. Oh, yeah. I get a little happy with it. Get private key. Yeah, it never gets used. I get it. Do we need token? I don't think we need token either. All right. So this looks. I'm sure we'll need more, but this looks like a at least a start for this. And then we can also do. This allows us to do this, and this would be a GitLab config. But I'm not going to put these in there yet. But it will allow us to extend it and yeah. So in the future, instead of just GitLab or GitHub, we can do GitLab. We can do, and they can each have their own things. This also allows one server to have multiple. Interestingly, here for hosting this, I don't know that we would want to have a custom one, but this gets interesting with hosting. If we hosted this on the Null Cloud for people to use, do we make their own server? Or do we want to make a different server that keeps all of these things separate? Basically, we wouldn't want everybody's config to be in memory in the same server. It's not a great multi-tenancy. We can try. I'm not sure it's a great multi-tenancy. Or we could just say everybody gets their own server. We run their own server for each one of them. Or we could say that we run our own special server that maybe uses some of the server's code, but is more like microservices. I think that's actually the best way, but that's more work than just saying like everybody gets their own server and we'll stand up. You create an account, we'll stand you up your own server. I think that's probably the easy way. So we'll probably go easy way, at least initially. Okay, so that's enough theorizing. This looks good. And then we have a way to serialize it. Should that config go in the DB then if it's per user? Well, so that's where, like, I actually think that you can have multiple different ways. So, like, if you're running this as an enterprise and you want to run it on your own servers, I think it doesn't go in the DB. It just is in this config file. It's just how you have it configured to run. But if you're running this as a service, so, you know, I would say I tentatively plan to run this as a service so people can use it easily. If they just want to play around with it, they can go and test it out. If in that case, I would say that it's more of a DB. All of this configuration should be read from a DB. Now we can actually update this so that configs can be read from a DB or whatnot. So part of the server's configuration is basically like some of the very basic is like you know, maybe this struct instead of this config here has like location of config. Actually, yeah. So like let's do that. Let's do that. We're gonna move this to a different thing. But this would be like config location. We're going to call it a string for right now. And then we have something else that's the actual configuration. Oh, right. I get some bad points for that. My bad. My bad. My bad. So basically, this would allow us to support is server config in a DB or on disk. Basically, this could be like a path on disk, or it could be a Postgres URL or an SQLite database URL. And depending on what type of URI it is, it connects and pulls this in. It's +1 anathema. Yeah. I did. I think it's actually +10 is what I was saying for not sharing my screen. I need to get better about that. And then, but this isn't like really the server config. This is like, well, it's the server config. But then we need another server config, pub struct. And this needs to be what we did earlier. Okay. We actually don't want this in here. So basically, this is like the bare minimum startup. Tell us where your config is. And then this way it allows us to run it differently. Because I think a lot of people want to just start up with a YAML. Because if you're just running this for yourself, there's no reason to keep different configs for any reason. It's your config. Yeah, you're going to need some more stuff here. Like passwords. I'm just worried about reading it from the file for right now because really it shouldn't change. Basically, this YAML is either going to be stored in a database or it's going to be stored in a file. Honestly, I'm not even sure we want to worry about this right now. Because hear me out. It doesn't really change anything. If we decide on the null cloud that we want to store it in the database, we can make that update. But even that database is just going to have like a customer ID and their YAML file that describes what they want. And so when the server starts up, it's still going to get that YAML file, parse it into this. It's just how it and where it gets that file from, right? So I would say for now, we ignore this. Wait, that's not what I wanted to do. We delete all of... We delete all of this. That's what I want to do. So I think that's a fairly unintrusive update in the future. And this will keep testing simple for now. For now, we assume it's a YAML file on the disk drive where you're running. Sorry, I'm trying to keep things simple while also keeping it available to expand in the future, but I don't think that this is a problem. Now, if we're going to call this config, we'll change this to, change this to server config. And then that way we can have a struct called either server or we'll figure it out. Like server connection. Yeah. Okay, so back to GitHub linked to pipelines. GitHub linked to pipelines. Okay, so your pipelines should exist in the repos, just like this, right? We have these that list here. This should be a pipeline definition. So our pipeline should be in here, right? Is that what you were asking? So once you do this, once you start the server up and it creates that webhook, it's now an application. It can start to watch the repos. I am not sure how it all links together either. I have never built a GitHub app. I've never built a GitLab app. I've never built a GitHooks app. So I don't know how that works either. Do we store in a database each app that has a pipeline file? I don't know. Maybe that's the best way. I was actually going to... One of my tickets that I can do it. I would love if somebody else wanted to do it. I believe that Tech on Pipelines does it. I believe they do this. Yeah, you should always put... Oh, there we go. It is on here. Good. I'm not worried about... I'm... What do you mean the workflow would work? Which workflow are you talking about? Yeah, I was thinking that it would be something like, in... I don't have them here because they're not merged in, but, in here there's like a dot workflow or, a dot GitHub. We would have like a dot assembly line or a dot AL slash workflows slash... I like this. It keeps it in the code, but it's also in this, like, not really part of your repo folder. I don't think you should create a config to point to that repo. If you've set it up for your org, it should automatically pick it up that it's there. Right? I think probably I don't know. I would like it to automatically happen. I'm not saying org only, but org is the easiest way. It's the most convenient way. It allows us to handle everything automatically. You say, you know, there's no other way for it to be you create a YAML file and then it automatically just starts running. Now, if you don't want to put it on your org, then I guess the workflow would be kind of what you're saying. You create the pipeline file, you create the config to point at the repo, you then create a webhook, and then you give the server access to that webhook. If the server has the ability to make the webhook, they already have permissions enough to do the other stuff as well. Okay, so in org mode, the webhook is created before the repos. So I guess the webhook needs to accept an extra param to say which repo is being used to call the webhook. Again, I haven't dug into their webhooks. Tecon does this, and another one is Drone does this. So I was going to 100% go to them and see what they did. Oh, that's a client. Where's the drone server? Oh, maybe drone isn't maybe drone server isn't open source. I know what's their face bought them, so it used to be. There's also Go CI. Go CD. It's in Java. Anyways, I was gonna go look and see how some of these people did it. I don't know off the top of my head exactly how that would work. I have ideas just like you do. So in org mode, the webhook is created before the repos. So I guess the webhook needs to accept an extra param to say which repo is. I don't know what the org payload looks like. If we go over to an org that I can do that to on stream. Well, I meant the org. If you look at webhooks here, where webhooks? You can send everything. You can send push events, which is for every repo. So if you do this, I don't actually have to create a webhook for every single repo. It's any new repo, you get push events. So I think that we just sign up for this. I don't think that we need pull events and things like that. Or we could say, there's very specific things that we want. Um, yeah, everything to projects and whatnot. Again, I don't know that we need a whole lot of that, but this is Git pushes to a repository. We don't, in org mode, we don't need a webhook for each repo. We get that. Pull request reviews. Let's see. Yeah, pull requests. So, we can sign up for pull requests, pushes. Um, again, we had some of those actions. Depending on which actions, do we want to have CI/CD that can work off of labels? If we do, we'll do labels. Do we want to be able to do stuff off of issues? I don't know that we do, but maybe we do. Maybe we want to do forks. Don't know. Do care, but not right now. And yeah, again, maybe branch or tag creation or deletion. But then this is for every repo in the org. Now, how we know which repos have files in it, I'm not entirely sure yet. How we know to go to that repo. Yeah, I think so. So my goal was next week I'll sort out the webhook, get a webhook going so that I get events when things are happening. And then the next step from that is okay, we have the events, we have the webhook set up, we understand how that's going. How do we know when there's a pipeline YAML? How do we know whatnot? The other thing that we can be doing in conjunction with this, which I started here, is this right here. Is the I basically made an HTTP server with just like the hello and echo, like the demo. We can start working on a so we need to a couple things. Get the config. Um I'm not even sure why we had a database. I think we'll need a database in the future, but I know I was playing around with it to like figure out how to do it. Oh, we will. We'll have to store information and whatnot. So we'll have to get the database connection. Get the config, the server config. Get the database connection. Start listening to GitHub. And then this is going to be start listening to for clients. So basically, this is going to be the client interface to the server. So we can start working on this without waiting on the webhooks. I think I'm going to push forward with the webhooks just because I think integration with GitHub is one of the things that we need to do. This, I really almost feel like all we need to do is like we basically need to do two things. Another reason we need the database is for like clients heart beating. I actually think this could be really easy, and we could just start with this. Is basically something like register I know this is. I know this is not a proper REST call. We'll come up with something that's a better REST call. So we'll actually post a register. Actually, let's do this. We'll post as an agent. That's a better REST call. And this is going to be the agent basically logging in. And then we'll have a heartbeat that is at agent agent ID and all we need to do there is then respond with the if it's supposed to be doing something. So basically, there's two things. If nothing to do, return this. Just return hello world. If something to do, return the pipeline to run. I think we can start really, really simple like this, and then add and work on it. Like don't overcomplicate it. Basically, on this call, we should save it in the database, and we should expect 30 seconds heartbeats from it, or yeah, whatever the configuration for the heartbeat is. And maybe on this we tell it how often we expect it to heartbeat. I kind of think the server should dictate those things, not the clients. So oh, hey, Infinity TTY, I am so sorry. I don't have alerts. This is one of the reasons I think one of these Saturdays I'm going to actually take the day off from streaming to work on things like alerts to make the stream a little bit better. I have been doing a bunch of streaming and we're doing awesome work here, but I do want to get some of those things on the stream for you all. So that's one of the things that I need to get done. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're liking it. And yeah, we'll get alerts eventually. Just kind of started doing this streaming stuff. Okay. And if you're new here and you haven't seen this, we are building. A couple of us in the community have gotten really tired of basically this dichotomy between how you build for production and how you build and debug and test locally. And there's no real good solution. GitHub Actions is pretty awesome, but it's horrible locally. It also has vendor lock-in. And so the whole point of this project is to solve two things: vendor lock-in and debugging locally and running locally is the exact same as in production. We also need to have some jobs. Yes, Russell, I agree. We need more than this. I was just trying to get us something to start with, something that we could start working with, iterating on. But 100%, there needs to be more than this, for sure. Now, yeah, job status, like also probably like log streaming. While a job is running, do we want to be able to stream the logs up to the server? Probably. So how do we want to do that? Do we want to do it where the agent just posts every 5 seconds with the new logs, or once there's enough logs to post? Or do we want to do a WebSocket and stream them up to the server? I would say we keep it simple, so we don't do WebSockets. WebSockets are fine, but they get hard, especially if you have multiple servers. Because so in a stateless server, one of the more painful things you can do is use a WebSocket, because a WebSocket is stateful by design. And some people use like something like Redis PubSub to handle this, but it just adds a bunch of complexity to your architecture to then deal with a stateful connection in a stateless architecture. So anyways, that was my my one rant. I agree though. We need some more stuff for this, but I was trying to start simple, and we can add more later. Yeah. I actually like this kind of as a PR. It kind of Yeah, I'm gonna make this a PR. We don't even have to accept it if you don't want to. It just kind of lists out what we need to do. I am gonna make some issues for this if people would like to get involved. I've been trying to make it as easy for people to get involved. So this is going to GitHub webhook. Get the database connection manager. Okay. I think these are all separate things. So honestly, I think people could work on any one of these things and it would be good. Like they don't Well, okay, so this and this kind of require each other. This and this also. So there's a little connection, but these two things don't. These three things really don't. So, yeah, we're close. All right. I am probably going to call that for today. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it for today. It was a good stream. I need to actually get where I'm working more on this and not talking about it. I feel like the talking about it is good, but I don't feel like people tune in to hear you talk about it. But I think it's good for people to understand and for us to all be on the same page. Although I think we also need to just move a little bit faster on some things. I'm gonna try to move faster on some of these things. Yeah, you too. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for joining in. I'm gonna finish making a commit here. But yeah, thanks for joining. Let's see. Cool. And we'll make a PR. I think I'm just gonna put it in WIP so people can see it if they want. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more there. A little bit more. Before it's really I don't know. I'm trying to also not like tarry too long on some of these things. So I don't know. Is it worth it to just merge this so that everybody can have it? I don't know. We can look at it maybe on Tuesday's stream. All right, cool. Oh, that's also another thing that I need to do. I need to go back to this one and update these. So let's check this out. Okay, we're back on the action. So let's go over here and actually put a new line in here. Let's be good citizens. Then I am just going to be a bad citizen and merge these. Just like that. Look at this. I am going to merge these. Done. Beautiful. I hope people don't mind. It's young in its stage. And I'm doing this just because I do want to move a little bit faster, which sometimes means like, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just bad. But it's our workflows. Now we should have some actions. Yeah. No runs yet. They should run on pull requests. Oh, you know what I want to do? What I want to do then? Run them on this one. So let's close this. Close pull request. Reopen pull request. Is reopen the same as create pull request? Yeah. Okay, good. Cool. Well, Lint failed. But I don't know that this is a real failure. Oh, it is. It is. Oh, no. Oh, no. You know what I didn't do? Let's go check this PR out. I'll show you what I didn't do. Which branch was this? Oh, yeah. I wish that when you click copy, it didn't copy my username. I should get better about that. What we should do is have local checks that can run. We don't really have like we could just do it in a before you commit. Now what I need is Visual Studio Code is supposed to be doing that for me on save, but it broke for some reason. So I got to dig into why it's not working. Because it's supposed to. All right. There we go. There we go. This shouldn't fail now either. Hopefully. Hopefully. We'll see. Oh, this is good though. This is what we want. This is what we want. Well, if you guys want to join in maybe the least exciting open source project ever, we do have office hours that we run. You're more than welcome to join. It is super raw. It is super early. I stream 80% of the work that I do, and I didn't write these GitHub actions on it. Maybe 75% of the work that I do on it is streamed. So if you want to join in, you can also just join the streams, ask questions here. We also have office hours once every 2 weeks, so you can join in on those. And yeah, hopefully we'll create something. I feel like GitHub Actions was really, really close because, like, Jenkins was great when there was nothing else. And the extendability of GitHub Actions is really, really fantastic, but it has that vendor lock-in. It has some reproducibility issues, and it definitely has a local problem. And that's what all of this hopes to fix. Fixes to hope. So we'll see how it does. All right, these will run. Hopefully they don't run for too long. They shouldn't. They're really, really small. Lint, Clippy. I guess it does have to build. Lint doesn't take very long, though. And the unit tests have to build too. And on GitHub gives you a free tier, but that free tier is like dumpster fire garbage building. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do a clean build in a couple of seconds. It's not that much code. So, all right. Well, that is it for me today. Hope you guys liked it. If you like my videos, I do make YouTube videos as well. If you're unsure about Rust, because this is in Rust, I've made a class on Rust. Start watching it. Let me know how that helps. I love your feedback. And I will see you guys Tuesday, if not sooner. No, tomorrow. I have a stream tomorrow. Shorter stream. We cover news, but it's tomorrow.